What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Faccis Cinema. And after a year of being delayed due to COVID, we are finally getting one of the most highly anticipated horror films of recent years that I can remember. And if you didn't know by the shirt, you didn't know by the backdrop behind me, I am talking about 2021's Halloween Kills, the smash follow-up to Halloween 2018, which I absolutely adored. So, what do you guys think? You think I'm going to love Halloween Kills? You think I'm just going to be mediocre on Halloween Kills? Or you think I'm just going to think it was complete trash? Well, right now, we're going to get into all the spoilery goodness, and we're going to dive into this bad boy. So let's get going. Can't wait to kill, baby! What's going on? Welcome back to Faccis Cinema. I appreciate all the love. Definitely make sure you hit that like and subscribe button to help me grow this channel and get this video out to more people. It doesn't even matter. If you don't like the video, shit, hit the thumbs down button. Any interaction between you and the channel helps me out to spread this video out further. I am getting close to 2,000 subscribers. It would mean a lot to me to... I really wanted to get it by the end of October, but I don't think that's going to happen. But we're going to work really hard and try to get there. I really appreciate all the love and support. But today, I am talking about the newly released Halloween Kills, starring Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer, Andy Matichak, Will Patton, and probably might be argued as the best Michael Myers we've ever seen in James Jude Courtney. This was a very highly anticipated film. I went into this obviously seeing a lot of the trailers. I saw a couple clips. So I had a general idea of what to expect in this film. Obviously, with the title named Halloween Kills, you expect it to be filled with tons of kills, which it was. And within the kills, are you sacrificing a storyline or a plot line? Kinda. Are you sacrificing great acting? Kinda. But you know, some argue that you don't need the great acting. You don't need the great dialogue in these films. But right now, we're going to dive in to see what exactly I thought about this puppy. Things that I did really enjoy in this film. Obviously, the kills. Very creative. There were tons of them. Tons of blood, tons of gore. A lot of on-screen kills. This wasn't an old-school approach like 78 with the off-screen stuff. This was in your face. Multiple variety of weapons used all around. So if you're one of those people that loves a movie just for the kills and the carnage candy, this is probably going to be a movie for you. If you liked Halloween 2018, kills, these kills are obviously amped up. You see a lot more, and there are a lot more of them. So if you weren't too crazy about that in 2018, you're going to love that in this one. Another thing I loved, probably the best thing, Myers himself. James Jude Courtney has put his persona on the character of Myers. He's taken what Nick Castle has given us and just cranked it up 100. Everything he does is amazing. The walk, the nuances, every slight head movement, tilt, everything. He brings the character to life, and this is a Myers that you don't mess with. You are terrified of this Myers because he is capable of anything at this point. You don't question if he's going to kill you anymore, because you know damn well if he finds you and gets you, he's going to kill you. So Myers is badass 100%. He might be the best slasher of all time in this movie, and I think he might have risen Myers to the top of the slasher list. If we get a new Friday the 13th movie with Jason, that's a different story. But right now, I think Myers is the #1 slasher of all time, in my personal opinion. It's a mixed bag in this, you know what I mean? I liked some of the characters. I didn't like others. I like Big John and Little John. I know I've heard people shit on them. They didn't need to be in the movie, blah, blah, blah. I thought they were very entertaining. It was nice to see somebody, totally different from Myers, who lived in the Myers house. You know what I mean? Myers is dark and violent. In Big John and Little John, they were fun. They were upbeat. They were comedic. It was a kind of a total opposite of what Myers is. So I like the fact that they put them two in the Myers house, and when they were telling the kids that story about who used to live here, and he stabbed his sister in the tits. Like I said, the dialogue isn't great in this movie, but I loved everything about Big John and Little John. They were hilarious. The fact that Little John was big and Big John was little. The fact that Big John grabbed the small knife and Little John grabbed the big knife. It was just funny, ironic, occurrences that happened between them two, and I thought it was great. Just the fact, the opening, we see Big John. We don't even know who these people are, and he's just up there singing that Halloween song and dancing around. I thought that was hilarious. Another thing, I think the comedy worked in this movie better than it did in 2018. I've heard some people say there was more comedy in this movie than 2018. I disagree, but I thought the comedy landed for me personally. I was finding myself laughing more in this movie, especially, the interaction between Laurie and Officer Hawkins. Brings me to another like. I love the relationship. It was a mini love story in this darkness and death and destruction around it. You could tell that they really liked each other, and they were smitten with each other in the past. And a nice callback to Ben Tramer. I like that little callback. That was nice. But I love the relationship, and it genuinely seemed like they had really great chemistry. And hopefully with Ends, since it does take place 4 years later, maybe they will have established themselves as a couple, and we'll get to see, if they developed or not. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Another thing that I really enjoyed in this film that other people have hated and not liked very much, the mob scene. Whenever they are beating the shit out of Myers. For some reason, I really like that scene. When the mask is laying in the middle of the road and the music kicks in, and then he just picks it up and puts on his battle armor like he's going to war. He needs that mask to go into battle, so he puts it on. And the mob lets him have it. I don't think he gets a stab on anyone. He attempts to swing the knife and you hear it, but he doesn't make any contact. The mob is there. They're beating his ass with baseball bats, hockey sticks, a gun. I think somebody might have had a pitchfork. I saw a hockey stick, if I didn't say that. An iron. I don't know who brings an iron to a fight. But, if you're whipping that shit with a cord, it's going to hurt. And then Tommy's like, dude, we got this, Karen. Go be with your family. And she freaking buries the knife in the back of his neck. And you see his hands twitching. I know we don't want to see him vulnerable like that. But I actually enjoyed that. It made him seem more human than he really was. Because the ending of this film just gets your mind blown and very, very confused. Another thing I liked in this film was the way that Karen and Cameron redeemed themselves in this movie. I think they both did a 180 from Halloween 2018, where we didn't give a shit about them. We hated the way they were. In this one, Karen is standing up for her family. She is standing up to Michael on more than one occasion. I think that she really redeemed herself as a character. And Cameron really came around. He realized he did some dick things in the 2018. And he had to make them up to Allison. And he tried the best way he could. And that scene when Myers was killing Cameron while Allison was suffering at the bottom watching, that was heartbreaking. You didn't expect to feel those kind of emotions from a Halloween movie. And they brought emotions in this movie multiple times. So that was another great aspect and aesthetic to the film that just added another layer. Yes, a lot of people wanted Cameron to die. Going into the film, of course, I did too as well. But as he grew throughout this film, it really hurt, And Myers made him suffer, and he made Allison suffer before he eventually, snapped his neck after beating the shit out of him against the railings. Brings me to another like in this film. The way that Myers attacked the victims in this film. He made the lovers suffer. He made them watch. Whenever he killed the two older people after leaving Laurie's house. he didn't just kill them. He made the woman watch as he stabbed the husband multiple times with different knives. Like, that is torture. And then what he did to Allison, obviously, making her watch as he beat the living shit out of Cameron. And then you think he's still going to be alive, and Myers just turns slightly the head and snaps his neck right in front of her. And he toyed with people in this film. He knew what he was doing. He was calculative in this film. Everything he did was for an emotional reason, it appeared, which we didn't think Myers had any emotions, but obviously he loves to torment his victims, so he knows what emotions are. And how can I forget the biggest like of this whole entire film, maybe the best part of the entire movie, the 10 to 12 minute flashback we get. I mean, they nailed it. Nitpicks here and there, they didn't put the bullet holes in Myers' costume or whatever. We can look past it, but that Myers, I believe his name was Aaron Armstrong, I believe, is the guy who played him in the flashback. Fantastic job. The mask was spot on. It looked like 1978. The aesthetic of the whole scene, the cars, the houses, the clothes. It was perfect. I mean, they even brought back the iconic Dr. Loomis. And I was nervous, very nervous. But you heard that voice in the background shouting at Myers, and then they show him run into the house with the trench coat on. I do agree they zoomed into his face too much, but damn, it almost looked uncanny how close he looked to Dr. Loomis. They did a great job of finding an actor that looked just like him. I heard that guy was a lookalike, actually, so it worked out perfectly. And then whenever Myers goes outside and is just standing in the front lawn and the camera pans back, just like in the original film when you discovered Myers was a 6-year-old child. And then the credits kick in, updated theme, updated pumpkin intro. It was fantastic. I had a blast with the whole flashback scene. Now, things that I was mixed on in this film. Allison. I really enjoy Allison. Andi Matichak is doing a great job, but I just think they're too up in her face. She's too in your face all the time. Her acting is there, but I don't know if it's just her line delivery or what it is, but it just feels kind of heartless to me for some reason. I don't know why. I really want to love Allison and Andi Matichak, but the lines just feel so like heartless, like there's nothing in there. I don't know what it is. It just didn't work for me. And then at one part, whenever they're telling her, you didn't know, you telling Karen and her at the same time, Michael Myers is alive, and then she's like, what? Okay, like, what? I don't know. That's not the way I thought you would react to that situation, screaming out like Little John. You know what I mean? It didn't work for me. The fact. Well, that's in my dislikes, so we're going to get there. Mixed things, there wasn't that many things I was really mixed on, to be honest. No, there really wasn't. There was more dislikes than mixed. So right into the dislikes we go. The way the legacy characters are introduced. Yes, I do love seeing Marion, Tommy, Lindsay in the introduction of Lonnie, because obviously we didn't have him in the original film besides for a couple seconds. I love the introduction of the characters. I don't like how it was approached. I don't like the bar scene at all. I thought it was terrible. The dialogue, the acting was bad. I thought Tommy's speech, like he's at a talent show, was not good. I didn't like that at all. I think there was a better way to introduce them back into the fold of Haddonfield compared to that situation. Another thing I didn't like was all the hospital stuff in between. Like the subplot of chasing around the other mental patient that escaped. That wasn't needed. That hospital stuff was, and if they were going to do hospital stuff, do it a little bit different. That I understand it's supposed to be chaotic because Myers is back and he's killing all these people and we got to get the mob ready. But it just didn't work. It was just a bunch of clutter just thrown together and jumping around and blah, blah, blah. It didn't work. All that could have been taken out and we would have had the same movie. You know what I mean? The chasing of that second patient meant nothing. Nothing at all. It just took away other time from character building moments that we could have had. Between Allison and Karen and Laurie and Allison, Karen and Laurie and maybe developing with Tommy and Lindsay a little bit more in a different way than they did. It just took away from that stuff, and it shouldn't have been in this film. Other stuff that I did not like, obviously Sheriff Barker doesn't do anything. He's useless in this film. I did not like that at all. Give him something to do. Make him be the actual sheriff, like Sheriff we've had in the past, like Sheriff Meeker. Like, Sheriff Barker is useless and doesn't really even need to be in the film because he affects nothing. Another thing I didn't like, the end of the mob scene, okay? After they're done beating his ass and whatnot, and then magically he gets back up and then, like, didn't have any time to recuperate or anything, gets back up, just starts slaying and slicing every single person in the mob that was there in a matter of minutes. And that's not how Myers always was. He didn't jump back up like this. Like, he took a beating. Like, there's no way you'd be able to get back up that quickly afterwards. So I did not like the way that they handled that situation, but I did like the way they handled killing of Tommy Doyle. And they let it soak in. They let it breathe. He stabbed them. They're looking at each other eye to eye for the first time in 40 years. And I liked that part of that aspect, but I did not like how quickly it changed around. And then I definitely, which leads into me to my next dislike, when Karen goes back to the Myers house and then looks up and sees 6-year-old Michael in the window, obviously. Did she really see him? Is she hallucinating? Is this a dream? Is this in Laurie's head? We don't know. Obviously, we're going to find out in Halloween Ends. But she goes back upstairs to Judith's bedroom, stands looking out the window, and then magically Myers pops up out of her, like, frame of her body. And then kills her right there, kind of choppy Psycho style, is what I like to think of it as. First off, she would have seen him in the room because we panned the room and there's nobody there. Secondly, the way he popped up, he literally stepped out of her body frame, which is not possible because he is a huge man. That would not work either. And there's no way he would have got up the stairs because it was crowded with paramedics, police, Allison, they were all outside. So it really doesn't make any sense. Yeah, he could have went up the back door, but I highly doubt it because Allison was looking backwards as her mother was upstairs. So no way. So then you got to think, was this in Karen's head? Was she hallucinating? Was this in Laurie's head? Was she dreaming this because, you know, she was hooked up on pain meds and whatnot? We're never going to know that until Ends comes out to see if all this actually went down. If Karen did die, that adds a little bit of merit, a little bit of girth to the story, because Allison and Laurie are going to be fighting even harder to take out Myers for real. And is Myers actually supernatural 100%? Because what he went through doesn't seem like a normal man would be able to withstand all that punishment. So we're going to have to see how this goes. It's very interesting. And also, I forgot to mention this in my loved category, when Karen came in with that pitchfork and stabbed Michael in the back and then curb stomped the shit out of his head on the step. That was fantastic, but my gripe with it is he stands up and the pitchfork is gone. It's not in his back. I don't think he pulled it out, but magically it's not there anymore. So a little editing hiccup maybe, I don't know. But I did like the balls that she had to take the mask and lead him away from Alice. I thought that was great. Like I said, Karen definitely took a big jump forward. But after first watching this film, I was not crazy about it. I left the theater with mixed emotions. I felt like I just lost my dog. I guess my hype was just too high for it. And then going in, it was a lot of filler stuff that I didn't want. And then the ending was just like, what? But upon rewatch, I've now watched it 3 times. I've come around on it a lot. If I can just forget about that hospital stuff, I definitely can have a better time with this movie. And the ending, we just got to, I don't know, is it a trippy dream? I don't know, that's kind of how I'm thinking about it right now. But upon leaving the theater, I probably gave this movie I'd say a 3 out of 5 leaving the theater, which is still good, but I wanted it to be higher. Upon multiple rewatches, I am getting closer to that 4 out of 5 mark. Probably 3.75 to 4 out of 5 stars for me. So it definitely has risen. I mean, upon multiple rewatches, it might go back down. It could go up a smidge. who knows? I got to redo my Halloween rankings to see where exactly Kills fits into the rest of the franchise for me. Personally, for me, I still have Halloween 2018 above this one. It was a better made movie. It actually had a decent storyline to follow. So I'd have to put it above Kills. But who knows? Once Ends comes out, maybe Kills will make a lot more sense. And it will jump up and be better received by me. But it was a fun ride nonetheless. Like I said, had more fun watching it outside of the theater than in the theater. Let some stuff soak in, give it a fresh watch, knowing what's going to happen, and go from there. And it worked a lot better for me. But it was definitely and also this is coming out after the weekend opening. It made over $50 million opening weekend, and that is with, it's still being on streaming. So it made $50 million in the theater. That is fantastic. It opened up way more than expected. I think they were talking about like 25 to 35 million, so it did way better. I am so happy that the fans got out there to support this franchise, because yes, we're going into Halloween Ends next year, but that doesn't mean that Myers is going to end. We're probably going to start back up again, because there's multiple stories we can go, and I appreciate every single one and every director for going out there and giving us what they got, because making movies is hard, and I respect the hell out of them for even wasting the time to mess around with this slasher, my favorite franchise, my favorite movie of all time, Halloween. So it means a lot. But those, were my thoughts on Halloween Kills. If you have not checked out the live stream we did, it was myself, James Grimm, and Destiny Faulkner. It was a 2-hour stream about all of our thoughts, diving deep into Halloween Kills. I just wanted to put out this review, a little more concise version of that video with just my thoughts in it. So let me know your thoughts about Halloween Kills. Leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And Michael is back and badder than ever, and I can't wait to see where Halloween Ends takes this. So thanks for checking out the video. Have you guys a great Halloween if you don't see me by Halloween. And I will see you guys in the next one. So have a scary day, guys.